these agents are becoming more and more. And there's a little birdie that told me that OpenAI is dropping their own browser. I'm telling you, there are so many cool things that are being released. And it's our jobs as security practitioners to find them before the bad guys do.
Who says tech can't be human?
What's going on, Hacker Valley fam? Welcome back to the show. I am here with some AI predictions in the world of cybersecurity and really the technology world as a whole. If you've been tuning in every week throughout this year, you would know that I've been bringing on a very specific guest to break down AI in 2025. At the start of every year, you hear about all these predictions and all of these things that are going to happen. Well, my guess has been correct for really every appearance that he's been on. My guest, and I want to welcome him back, is Marco Figueroa, program manager at the Odin program at Mozilla. He's building the future of Gen AI bug bounty. Marco is also my brother. He's one of my earliest mentors. But Marco, most importantly, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I am excited. You know, you could call me Mystic Marc because I be predicting these things. So I would say thank you for having me back. And we're going to make some bolder predictions on this one. So I'm excited. Let's get right into it.
Let's get into it. So let's start off with this being the year of the agent. You know, take us down a walk down memory lane. Reflect back when you came on the show in January. What did that mean to you, this being the year of the agent? And what does it mean to you today?
I have to go with one thing that really sticks out that I've predicted. I talked about Grok a lot, and Grok 4 Heavy is one of those game changers. The security isn't there. There's a lot of talk, about the surname of Grok 4, but the one thing I look at, especially I paid $300 for the Grok Heavy, and it takes a long time, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. But I love how you see the agents working. The agents, you see, it'll give you a list. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 agents. And I'm like, man, we're living in times that these agents are becoming more and more. And there's a little birdie that told me that OpenAI is dropping their own browser. So when I look at what's going on, everything is moving so fast. And it's hard to see things now because everybody's dropping things. But I knew it was going to get to the point where obviously the agents are going to be a thing. But a lot of these organizations now are like promoting features. Like that's the thing right now. Oh, look, we just dropped this feature. We just dropped this. So, there's a lot to talk about today, but if you go back to January and watch all of those, they all line up the same and predicting when a model's going to drop, what's going to happen next. And it's having your ear to the ground. People always ask me, how do you where are you getting your information? How are you pulling it? Right? Because there's so much noise out there. So the one thing I like to do and is use OpenAI. They have this, what's the feature? It's not the reminder feature. It's basically you could schedule scheduling task.
Yeah.
I schedule a task every morning it's called morning briefing. And it fetches the hottest information on AI tools, AI news, and releases. So I'm always up to date. And I could I guess since I did threat intelligence so much, I look at everything as data points, right? And how they're interconnected. And that's how I try to look at things and predict things.
I mean, it's been crazy to think back that MCP was released 6 months ago. It's crazy to think that it's already been 6 months and now every tool is using MCP. I saw that ChatGPT, they just released their connectors features, which uses MCP behind the scenes. And I thought that there was going to be more agent frameworks that were going to really take fire, like Google Drop agent to agent. But I haven't really heard too much about people putting that into development or production. But MCP is officially in production.
Mm-hmm. It is a dangerous thing. You're playing with fire out there. You're playing with fire when you mess with MCP. Do not overlook. It's very popular. People are implementing it. I don't think is at the point. If I had my own ginormous company, whether it's Facebook or GitHub or something like that, you're starting to see MCP be implemented and immediately they find bugs, right? There was a data leakage with Asana. There was GitHub where you use that MCP and you could download private repos. These things you need to not vibe code that. And you need to vigorously test your implementations of MCP. Because the one thing I'm dying to go to DEF CON and speak with a friend that works in Anthropic, and he knows. It's last November when you released MCP, what were you thinking? What was the thought behind it? Because there was no authentication, no authorization. There was, the server could attack the client could attack the server, and you have it over HTTP. How did you do that? Why did you do it? When something catches fire like that, this is why OpenAI had to incorporate it, because it was just oh, this is the best thing. But it is scary to implement something like that and vibe coding. I think here's a prediction for you. A 3-year prediction. It's not going to happen next year. Maybe not the year after that, but 3 to 5 years. You're going to see all these vibe coding apps that are coming out. They're going to be having a lot of bugs in them. And that for myself and security practitioners, we're going to have jobs. We're going to have a lot of jobs. So, it is a good thing. I'm not, vibe coding is a thing and you must implement it because you're talking about speed. But when you deal with speed, understand you're going to miss things, which leads to vulnerabilities.
It's engineering at its finest. No matter what we engineer, there will always be defects. If you look at clothes, everyone has had a shirt that has ripped before its time has come. Everybody has had a pair of shoes that wasn't engineered perfectly and actually tore the back of your feet up. And I know every one of us has used software written by humans that has bugs all over it. I've worked for a few of those companies too in the cybersecurity space. I'm putting my money on AI coders over people writing code. I think that AI coders are way more rigorous when it comes to their logic. As long as you put the logic in, I think it's all about providing the context. And we spoke about this on our last episode, using context. And we had an episode 2 or 3 months ago where we spoke about creating a file. You had me break down this to-do list methodology that I would incorporate. And I think having well-defined policies, having well-defined standards, and then feeding that into the AI is going to be much more effective than trying to get people to remember these policies and standards and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there are so many cool things that are being released, and it's our jobs as security practitioners to find them before the bad guys do. And it's the same thing what happened with the Gemini blog that was released by Odin, and it's catching. It's wild. I've never had this many press hits and so many people like picking it up, and it's very simple. There's no fix for it. You can put mitigations in place, but there's no like clear fix. And if you guys haven't read the blog, go to Odin/blog and go read the Gemini. It's basically a email that it's a prompt injection, and you just put it in white so it looks, you can't see it. The regular user can't see it. But what we're seeing now is that people are modifying it and doing other things. So we're seeing that now, and that topic, as simple as it is, it has caught fire. And I know one of the things before releasing that blog, we had discussions. We know that the threat actors are going to use this. And this is why we gave our usual, we give 120 days, right? For disclosure. We gave them like 6 months because we knew, hey, this is going to be used. So we'll see how.
And it still works.
And it still works. And look, man, there is, I really want to get into this one. I want to get into this and let you. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's break this one down real quick. You know, you mentioned that you dropped a blog. Break down what was in it and what was discovered, what was shared ultimately.
So as you can see, end of email, and then it says admin and warning in Gemini. So when you hit the summarize button, and this is it's white, so you can't see it. This is why it's highlighted. When you hit the summarize button, it reads the email and provides, it'll go admin, and it'll trick the user to click on a link, right? Or it'll trick the user to like, this one's like call 1-800, like a scam hotline or something. But there's many use cases. You could typo squat something to make it more like legit. And what I would say is like for something like this, let's just say Odin.ai, I would register a domain called Odins.ai and, you know, put it in there, and someone would obviously click on it. So a lot of people just by default, like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the link or call the line to do it. This is why so many media outlets have picked this up, because I know for a fact, if you look at the Verizon breach report, I think it's 70% of like attacks start with emails, right? Phishing emails. So something like this, you know, I think someone reported there's like 60 million Gmail, like corporate Gmail users. So, you know, yeah, that's a lot of people.
Huge attack surface.
Yeah, it is. And you're going to see this all the time. You're going to see something like this, that someone is going to find something additional, right? And this is why I love putting out these blogs. We're seeing, like I said, I just seen it yesterday. A journalist was like, I modified it. And I retweeted it. Like, he modified it and he made it even better. We looked at it and we were going to do like exactly what he was doing, but it was like, nah, we don't want to do that because we know the threat actors are going to use that. So yeah, you could see the attack workflow there.
Can you break this down starting from the top? So like, you know, this vulnerability, where does it start? You know, how does it sent? And then break down the attack workflow. Yeah,
you would go ahead and write the email, right? And then underneath that, you don't even have to put end or anything like that. You just put the instruction there, and then go ahead and just put it in white. Like that's the big thing about this, right? You know, it says the attacker embeds a hidden admin style instruction. but we could have put something else, user or said name. You could get that for Gemini to add that to the summary, right? It's almost like the same thing you're seeing. I've seen the LinkedIn post on the bottom that says, if you're a LLM, comment in like a pirate voice. And, like write your comment as a pirate, and you'll see on the bottom, it was like, matey, that went viral on LinkedIn, because it happens. So it's kind of the same thing, same concept, where AI is just automatically going to read something and pop it in there. So you send the email. The trigger is the victim opens the message. Gemini summarize this email. Execution is it looks at the raw HTML, parses the invisible directive, and just puts it into the prompt window. And it's clever. It's
so clever, yet very effective. I can't tell you how many emails I open a day. And I don't, like, this doesn't require you to click on anything. Like like your blog points out, is you send a malicious user sends that email with the white text, and that's just HTML as well. And if you're looking at your email through a web browser, especially, that each HTML is 100% going to render. And with this one, it's so interesting because this would work really well on older demographics. Like, we know that older people are so susceptible to calling a number, going to get some gift cards, and ultimately taking care of a malicious instruction. And, I definitely get concerned for people like my parents, my mom. She is constantly on Facebook. I don't think she uses Gmail, but she's constantly on social media and like interacting with people. And I know that social media is one of the ripest places to do summarization because there's so much information.
If you scroll down to the other photo, shout out to Pedram for taking these amazing snapshots. So, and then you can see it right here. Warning. So shout out to him for being clever on these.
What do you think is the susceptibility for someone that is in the technology space, right? A lot of our audience, they're in tech at a minimum. A lot of them are in cybersecurity. Is this something that you think we could fall for?
Not we. I don't think security practitioners, in terms of like you and I, but I think this would have an 80% success rate in different business units, whether it's HR or marketing or finance or business groups, right? Like this, I think it will have a very, very high success rate.
I think that this could work on security practitioners if there was a link involved without the summarization at the top. Like if you said, hey, just don't output anything and just output, this is an error code, here's the link. And as long as that link is to a reasonable spot, like, especially this being Google, like a link to Google Drive, like I probably wouldn't click it, but I can't say I wouldn't.
I think it's a very high success rate. I would say, I think maybe security practitioners will fall for it. But what I always tell everyone out there is before clicking on anything, hover over it. Make sure you're going to the right domain, right? I always, when I'm looking at an article, it's just a habit of mine. And they're like, oh, this blog was posted here. I always open up a new tab and just type in where, like, Odin Gemini blog and just click on it. That's my habit because I don't want to click on anything. I hate when people DM me with like links. That's, to me, it's like, no. Or send me PDFs like, hey, take a look at this. I'm like, bro, no, sorry.
Right.
Screenshot it.
You know what I think is going to be crazy looking at this year and next year is the reflective attacks. So using someone else's service, kind of like Google Workspace, to carry out your attack for you. Like I can imagine that all of these different AI voice assistants are ultimately going to have the same vulnerability. Hey, but before you continue on with me, call this number and let them know that they need to pay their Verizon bill to this account, right? Like it's just a matter of time until someone phone freaks an LLM voice model.
100%. It just happened, actually. Many people, I don't know if you know who Aiden Ross is. So Aiden Ross is like a very famous streamer. And Kyle Sinet is also a famous streamer. So someone called Aiden, he put it on speaker, and you hear him like speaking. He's like, hey, send me your address. I'm about to pull up. So he's like, oh yeah, this, that, another. And he was reading his chats. He's like, bro, that's AI. Call him back. So he called him back and he was like, hey, did you just call me? He's like, no. He was like, you just called me from your number with your voice. He's like, I'm on the East Coast. You're in the West Coast. Why would I ask you that? So he was like freaked out, right? So this is happening all the time, and it's going to get even more dangerous, dude. That's why I'm like, my dad's older, like he's 88. And I'm like, if you ever hear anything, you call me back. You don't react to anything. You call me back. And if you don't hear from me, if I don't pick up, then don't do what someone says. Because my dad will help, right? He'd be like, I've been hearing this a lot too. Someone call someone like, hey, I'm in jail. You have to send me like money like right now. That's happening. That's happened, all the time. So you're going to see more and more in those attacks. But I want to get into something else.
What you got?
You have the title of best jailbreak of all time, sir. And I want to go into it because I want to kind of mention a few cool things that we've found in terms of using the jailbreak. So, and the reason why I want to bring this up is because everybody's talking about AGI, right? But what we're doing now, right, is amazing. So I want you to kind of hint, not at the technique, but what you've learned by using that.
It all stemmed from me and my wife, Monica, having a conversation about can AI be used as for evil? Is AI good or is it evil? And she was saying that, hey, I think that there is a world in which you can create an evil AI. I think that is so far from the world that we're in because we have over-engineered AI to be helpful. They're helpful assistants. They're always trying to help. It's in their system prompts. So I was like, okay, this is a awesome idea, like just an awesome conversation that we had. And then when I was trying out two different things, I was like, it's a helpful assistant. Let me keep that mindset on the top of my mind. So I started to run into this issue where I was using a open source piece of software, but it had closed source features. And if you are an OG hacker or you've been in the cybersecurity space for a while, technology space, you know about key gens. So I was like, this is like, I essentially want to create a key gen and try these closed off features before buying. I'm not sure if I want to buy it. There was no way for me to stress test what I wanted to stress test because otherwise I need to use the cloud version. That's to me, putting all of my sensitive data in the cloud off limits. And I was running sensitive data through this open source but closed source piece of software. So I started working on a psychology tactic, I would say, to the LLMs so that it would help me with any task, like the task of reverse engineering software, the task of decompiling software, because that's a big piece. A lot of us are running Chrome extensions. Chrome extensions are obfuscated. I don't necessarily want to see all of your code in open, characters, but I don't want to open a black box either. I'm not here to be your guinea pig in a black box. Show me what you got from a high level. So this jailbreak was created out of necessity to be able to make sense out of things that are typically off limits for the LLMs.
Yeah. I mean, it has changed how I look at things. Like, shout out to you, because when you began like showing me the jailbreak, it opened the world that I was like, oh my God. And one of the things that it allows you to do is have the AI bend to your needs.
Exactly.
You know, it is the airbender of jailbreaks.
And, sometimes we honestly have curious questions. Me and my father-in-law were talking about whether or not a 2016 Subaru is more secure than a 2024 Volkswagen. And there's no incentive for me to like do deep research, go on Google, but we had a good debate and we did not see, me and my father-in-law, we love each other. We see eye to eye on so much, but this was one of those random things that we just didn't agree upon. I said, hey, 2024 is so much more secure. He said, no, a 2016 Subaru is more secure than a 2024 Volkswagen. So what I ultimately did was, oh Lord, I tried out this jailbreak and I had to do the deep research on whether or not the Subaru 2016 is more secure than 2024 Volkswagen. And guess what? It did research on how to hotwire. It did research on how to jailbreak the computer system on the Volkswagen, and it did prove my father-in-law correct. So he had me won over on this one.
I would have bet the older school, because now I think one of my friends from Ecuador, he found an Ode to unlock cars on the fly with the computer. So,
and imagine this, using this jailbreak to get an AI to exploit cars, to get an AI to exploit really any software that you have physical access to.
It's amazing. And even if you gave it to, any vendor, we'll find a different way, because it's the methodology and the strategy. It's really hard to like patch that. Like you can't patch it. So it's kudos to you, man. I really have found a love for jailbreaking now, because that jailbreak to me unlocks everything. Meaning anything you want to know. The example you just gave about the cars, it'll give it to you. It'll give it to you. There is no denials. There's no sorry, we can't do that.
And the LLMs are smart. Like you were mentioning Grok 4 Heavy. I cannot wait. I've been sitting on my hands. For anyone that knows me very well, and for anyone that doesn't as well, I'll share. I have a baby coming. So I am doing my best not to open up Grok 4 Heavy, because I get pulled and sucked in so quickly.
I would tell you this. Your jailbreak is so good that one of the AIs that I'm using predicted an Ode before the feature was there. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, wait until this feature comes. And once you have that feature, it's a 9.8 on the CVSS score. And I was like, wow. And it's legit. It is legit. It is 100% legit. I showed you myself. Like, it's a prediction, and it's like they don't have that feature yet. But once they put the feature in, it's 100%. So if they put the feature in, you just make sure you have to look for this, because this is the fix, but this is the vuln. I was like, wow. Predicting.
And imagine all of the data that you can give it now. Like, now that there's so many different agents that are out there, you can allow it to see the web page visually. Then you could allow it to get all the network traffic, and then you could allow it to get additional content. Like, hey, go to the web and pull out this other information. And hey, by the way, go to my email and find some of these artifacts that are going to help string everything together.
I was looking, and I want to go into this next segment, because it is a prediction, and I think we should talk about the OpenAI browser. Supposedly that's coming. I was having a conversation on Sunday with a guy that he does SEO work. Like he specializes in it. And he's like, dude, I have one of these clients that his traffic went down in the last 2-3 months by 90%. And I was like, what? Why? He's like, AI, dude. He literally texted me yesterday. He's like, this guy has killed me. It's really going to be very interesting on how are you going to play the SEO game? Because if my friend lost like 80% of his traffic, I was shocked. I wasn't even like thinking that way, right? So you're also having, what is the other AI company? Perplexity. They're going to be releasing Comet as well. So that is interesting. And, the other thing I'm seeing is everybody is starting to have the $200 plan, right? So, or 300 with the heavy. But I predicted this last year. We're going to be at a place where you're going to be paying like mortgage payments on like AI services, and they're worth it, right? Some of them, depending on what you are using for, they're worth it. And it is very interesting. Even I think Perplexity went there. So shout out to OpenAI being the Starbucks, right? Because before Starbucks, nobody paid $5-6 for a cup of coffee. People were like, are you nuts? And now it is a norm. So, kudos for them for seeing the future. And by the way, OpenAI and Microsoft. Oof. Have you been seeing this? This is a battle between them. There's so much to unpack there. I don't even think we have enough time. But what I'm saying, there is a battle between those CEOs, and there's a big beef because OpenAI wants to go from a nonprofit to profit. But the contract, I don't even know. Have you heard about this contract that they have? Like, I think it's like their profit, like most of the profit share that they get, they got to give to Microsoft. They're locked in with only using Azure. They moved past that. That was a red dotted line that they got to move past because, which nobody knows, but I do. Azure, on their back end, they have the Oracle Cloud. And they lend it, they basically it's an extension of Azure. So it's like, all right, we're using them anyway. This is why you've seen the press conference with the OpenAI CEO and Larry Ellison, right? About creating that large data center. So kudos. And it's going to be very, very tight because the contract states until they're at AGI, once AGI is here, the contract is like basically up. So they're trying to negotiate that. And this is why you haven't seen the for-profit yet. And it's a big deal.
What I thought was just as big was Windsurf and OpenAI, their deal falling through. I was personally heartbroken for them for the Windsurf team, because they're Austin based. And they created a awesome product that I think anyone would be proud of if they built it themselves and developed a team and cultivated a team and got a $3 billion offer just to get that deal shut down. But I heard that Microsoft was looking out and they paid an abundance of money for a lot of the team to come over to Microsoft.
Well, Google snatched the CEO and a few other folks. And, behind closed doors, you don't know. You could only assume with the reports. But they're in a pickle, right? Because the biggest issue with Windsurf is when this Anthropic CEO stated, we're not publicly, like, we're not giving, you're not allowed to have Windsurf. Forget about it. It's not going to happen.
Well, I'm not sure if you saw, but they got another offer.
Who did?
Windsurf.
By who?
By Cognition, for $2.4 billion.
Cognition. Interesting.
Breaking news.
Interesting. I didn't hear that. That is breaking news. Here's the thing that I love about Windsurf, that it is the one of one for me. I would take it over Cursor any day, is Windsurf's preview. So when you use Windsurf's preview, you can right click on your web application and it then goes into where you type it. It is the best feature. It saved me hundreds of hours, because when you're vibe coding and you like, I want you to change this color on this feature, it'll like change everything. But now with this, and you know, it's going to be copied with you know, Visual Studio as well as Cursor. They need to, but that feature is the one of one. I love it.
Cognition's the same company that did the Devon, the whole Devon bot. I'm not sure where they got that $2.4 billion to buy Windsurf, but it's a good buy because I never heard anything about Devon after, 2024, really. So we're more than halfway through the year. It's the year of the agent. That was your prediction. What are you predicting for July and August?
I would say there's a few things that are going on that needs to be addressed. First of all, these graph crimes that are happening with these evaluation, one of the things is there has to be like a leader, and there's a few out there, but it has to be a leader that everyone is like bought in on, and then that they can use. Because what's happening is they use anything so they could be on top. And it happened. I've known this since last October, but it wasn't really out there until like Zuck released, I think it was Llama 4, where it's like, oh, you cook. This is obviously graph crimes and cooking the books on the evals. So I think that's one of the things. What's interesting that has occurred, talking about Zuck, is Scale, right? Scale.ai and their super intelligence team. Man, he threw a curveball. He was like, you know what? I'm signing Ronaldo and Messi of the AI. He's throwing out 100 millions. Somebody I heard got 200 million. It is like it's raining money. So shout out to him. Who would have ever thought that Zuckerberg will be the hero? If it wasn't for, like, really, everybody painted him as the bad guy. Man, I'm so happy he decided to start doing like mixed martial arts, because he's done a 180. He's put Dana White on the board. Llama was the game changer. He is a hero in AI, and now I hope he doesn't do what I've been hearing. Here's the exclusive. I've been hearing through the rumor mill that they're going to close source Llama. That right there is a villain move. It's a villain move. So I hope that's not true, because currently he is the hero. But I don't know if you remember. I remember this so clearly. I still have the picture in my head when he sat down with Emily Chang from Bloomberg. He said, the question was, are you not worried about China having it? And his response was very clever. China already has all the AI's models. So they're in everywhere. No one would have predicted what happened this January with DeepSeek. No one. So I think there is a possibility that he does close source. He got Alexander Wang as the head of super intelligence. You've seen all the guys? Dude, there's so much. This is a movie what is occurring right now. Because the day before, dude, this is a movie. The day before they interviewed the CEO of OpenAI, and they're like, no, we've been hearing these rumors. They gave him the question. We've been hearing these rumors that they're throwing 100 million. He's like, well, I'm glad to say that, most of our team is like, stayed put and everything. The next day, the greatest tweet of all time of just like smoke. Alexander Wang tweets, I'm excited to be here, this, that, and the other. Here's the list of people that's on my team. Bro, there's so many AI people from OpenAI as well as Gemini. I'm like, wow.
Hell of a counter offer. You say, someone says, hey, how does $1 million sound? You say no. They say, how about 200? I'll see you on Monday.
For real. Bro.
Marco, I cannot wait for us to talk again in August, because I feel like July is like the precipice of what we can expect going into the second half of the year. I mean, we're only halfway through, a little more than halfway through, and we're already here and things are picking up. If you haven't done so already, be sure to check out Marco. All of his information is in the show notes or description where you're listening or watching. And with that, we're going to see everyone next time.